Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Boobies! Hi.
Hello, and welcome to
Boobies.
Boobies. That's right. We're your hosts. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Joshua.
And today we're here to talk to you about one of the most terrifying train rides you could ever be on.
Choo choo. All aboard the Horror Express.
Yes.
And where are we heading to?
We are on a train to Busan.
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 2016 South Korean action horror film.
Directed by Yeon Sang-ho.
I was about to say, I'm going to let you do all the pronunciation on this one.
My pronunciations for Korean are still very bad, even though I've taken it now I think I hit my 2-year streak on Duolingo in 2 days. So I've taken it for 2 years now, and I still sound like the whitest motherfucker trying to say these things. But it's starring my lovely baby Gong Yoo. He was in one of my favorite K-dramas called Goblin. And then he was also in Squid Games. He was the guy who would slap you and you played the game with on the train platform where they threw that card down on the ground.
Oh,
and then he would smack you. Yeah, that was him.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I thought I know he looked familiar.
Yeah.
But he never played the game, right? He was the dude in the suit.
Yeah, he was the dude in the suit.
Okay, I remember.
Yeah. Yep. We've got Ma Dong-seok, Kim Soo-won, who played Soo-won. But her name's spelled differently.
Soo-won is the little girl, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got lots of people, really.
Lots of names, yes.
There's lots of names. Jung Yoo-mi plays Song Kyung, who is, I believe, the pregnant lady.
I called her Prego lady. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I called Gong Yoo daddy. And then I called Ma Dong-seok thick daddy.
Yeah. Thicker daddy.
And then pregnant lady and little girl is Soo-won, but I think I just call her daughter or little girl most of the time. Gong Woo's name it was hard for me not to refer to him as Gong Yoo. Sorry. But he is Seok Woo. Seok. S-E-O-K. Seok Woo.
Okay. Yeah, I hope it's not offensive, but most of my descriptions for people are like baseball dude one, and baseball dudes, and then baseball guy's
called them
girlfriend.
Baseball dudes and baseball girl.
Yeah. Just because it's easy identifiers, especially because the movies they're all. It's a zombie apocalypse. It's mayhem.
Yeah,
It's
everything was happening so fast in this film. The zombies move so fast. So no wonder everyone has to, the whole movie is just moving incredibly fast because they're on the run 24/7. So, because we open on a quarantine zone.
Yes.
With some sort of biohazard leak, we find out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying, they're making a joke, it's not hand, foot, and mouth disease. It's just this little biohazard leak or something.
Yeah.
And
I'm trying to downplay it a lot.
Yeah. constantly on the news. Even later, they're just downplaying it the whole time. They're like, we've got this under control, everyone's safe. And I was like, everyone's dead.
Yeah, which is what you would expect a government to say, right? Probably to downplay it. But also, who's to say that maybe they also were so out of the loop as well, and it was such a like fast moving a pandemic that happened that maybe they were so like
they were thinking that everyone was safe. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, and they just didn't realize because of miscommunication how like all the places couldn't communicate with each other just how bad it really was. I don't know.
Yeah. That's true. That could be it. But
also
a lot of the scenes they were showing did not make it seem like people were safe.
No, yeah, they
like
weren't.
on the actual news and stuff too.
Yeah,
so
true. And it's funny, yeah, because it's funny that they were trying to be like it's all good, but like all you could see were riots and like burning buildings and stuff on the news. So that's true.
Exactly.
So like you said, that dude was trying to get through the quarantine zone or get out of it, right?
Yeah. Or go into it or get out. I'm not sure.
Something, but as he ends up hitting a deer.
Yeah, because he's reaching for his cell phone while driving.
And this deer ends up reanimating after he drives off.
Zombie deer.
Zombie deer. What if that was the whole thing? There's nothing but zombie
deers. Just deers coming after. That would be even terrible because deers are so fast.
There's so many of them. They travel in herds.
And they're so fast. That'd be
and then
terrifying.
You have the ones with the antlers as well. So those would be pretty dangerous. And then we have it after coming to life and kind of looking us freakishly in the eyes, a title card for Train to Busan. And they're all like, I guess the credits are all in South Korean. So I didn't know if it was narrating something or if it was just names.
I think it was just names.
Okay.
Because my subtitles translated some of it and it was like directed by blah, blah, blah and stuff. So I think it was just names.
I couldn't tell if I was like missing like some sort of like text of like on July 7th, so and so happened. And this is whatever.
And now a word from our sponsors.
But we have we're with our regular daddy, our skinny daddy.
Yeah, Gong Yu.
And he's on the phone and he's talking to it's Kim, right?
Yeah, Mr. Kim.
Kim, his coworker, his intel throughout the film. I don't know. We don't ever really get like a specific. I didn't, unless I missed it, a specific title.
No.
But yeah, they're talking about some problem happening, right?
Yeah. I will be honest, my notes for this, I didn't really have time to pause.
Oh yeah.
Well, so my notes are a little sporadic.
They're talking very fast, and this whole movie is also in Korean. So it's not dubbed in English, so you have to pay attention to every single subtitle. So same. So like when I'm like writing notes, I'm like realizing I'm missing like half a conversation. So that's why they are talking about something very important, obviously. But then he has to get off of work because it's his daughter's birthday. And he's missing. Yep. Oh, and also there was a recital that he missed. And so he ends up getting home and gets into her bedroom and she's clearly disappointed and is sulking in her bedroom. And then he gives her a gift.
And she's on the phone with her mom.
Oh, that's right.
Too,
yeah.
At first. And she's just like, I can ride the train by myself, which thank God he did not allow her to ride the train by herself that day. But
and then he was also talking to the mom too before that, my bad, about her going over to visit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's her birthday. And so he gets in there and he gives her, oh, please don't walk on the computer. He gives her a Wii, but she's very disappointed, like you said. and he's like, "You don't like it?" And she looks up, and we see that she's already has one
Like the
in the
exact same
corner of
one.
her room.
Not even like at least a different color or iteration or like the special
Yeah,
edition.
same. Like, and the box was like still there too,
Yeah.
so it looked like maybe she didn't even play it.
She said she got it for International Children's Day, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, which is like, okay, I want an International Children's Day in America, but well, not anymore. I'm no longer a child, but that would have been cool. No
yeah.
more.
Another reason for a present.
Yeah. But she, is bummed out, and he's just kind of like, okay, well, I'll get you whatever you want. What do you want? And she's like, I want to see mommy. And he's like, accept that.
Because
and
she's like, tomorrow. I want
yeah,
to see her tomorrow.
and he's like, well, what about next? Like, I will take you next week when I'm less busy. And she's not having it. She's clearly upset, and so he ends up just kind of saying goodnight. He goes to the bedroom, and his mother ends up talking to him and is like, you know, you're so busy. All of these, you say you have like, it's such a big time for you right now. It's such a crucial moment, but it's also a crucial moment for her. And she leaves the video camera so that way he can watch the recital that he missed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And she was telling him to try and work things out with his ex-wife.
that's right.
And she's like, it's not good to throw away a marriage this easily. Like, let's try and work it out.
Yeah, a reconciliation.
Yeah.
Um, and so we have him watching the recital footage, and she ends up not finishing like she ends up not finishing halfway through and getting laughed at, and he's
Yeah. It
kind
was
of
so
bummed out
sad.
watching.
Oh no.
I just went to get some water, and so she ends up he ends up, well, it's the next day, but also he's receiving the bad father award, but I guess I
Ye-
can't really talk because
Yeah.
I'm not a father, so I don't know what it entails.
It's hard to be a single parent,
Yeah.
but he could probably try to be a little more present. Um, but also, if he doesn't have the time for her, maybe she should just go live with their mom.
Yeah, he should take her to
But I don't know.
like.
We don't know the mom situation ever. So,
That's true. She also could be dead at this point.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because we never get a hold of her.
Mm-mm.
Um, and then so they end up getting in the car. It's the next morning. They're heading to there, and she's kind of saying, like, he was saying, like,
He's talking
hey,
about
I
the
saw
recital
your
footage.
recital,
Hmm.
and even if I'm not there, I'm always watching you, kind of thing, which he's
He's
trying to be good. But then he starts lecturing her about
yeah,
finishing what you start. He was
such
like,
a
you didn't finish, did you? And I was like, Dad, come on.
yeah. Literally, I was thinking the same thing too. I was like, oh, we're doing good, and then it's like, pivot. Um, but yeah, he is basically criticizing her and basically saying you got to start what you finish. But I'm like, shouldn't have finished because you weren't there. Like, hello, but we get
Yeah,
more
you
on
got to
that
know the whole
later.
story, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just wrote, he a bad father. But then,
Yeah. I said he's kind of being an absentee father.
yeah. And so in the middle of giving this conversation, and it's all serious tone and whatnot, we end up having a close call because some ambulances and fire trucks and probably police cars drive by really fast and almost hit them, and he has to put on the brakes.
Yeah.
And
It
um,
was so many emergency response vehicles.
oh yeah,
There was
and
like 7 of them.
they are kind of looking off, and the windows are down, so she's noticed that ash is falling from the sky, and so we can see
Yeah.
in the distance that there is a like skyscraper on fire. So obviously something bad is happening.
Yep. And then we basically get to the train station. We don't get any more on that.
Hmm.
Um, And then we're getting on the train. It's a lot of just slow, almost like stock footage of like a train station, I feel like, but it's
Yeah.
kind of introducing us to each of the characters who we're going to see on the train. So we get Jin Hee, who is the baseball team girl.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I referred to her as baseball girl for the rest of the movie. I couldn't remember her name. But
BG. We'll call her BG.
BG, B, yes. And
Yeah.
she gets uh, on the bus with them, and we see there's a whole baseball team on there. And then we basically just see an injured girl run on the train really fast as he's not a conductor, but the guy taking the tickets
Mm-hmm.
or whatever wasn't looking. She
Yeah.
wasn't super quiet about doing it. So I'm like, there's no way she like snuck past him legitimately.
She was so fast, so it was so quick. She was like
Yeah,
swift. Um, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's a movie, so it's gotta happen for the movie to move forward. But
exactly.
I feel like someone would have noticed, like someone just like whooshing right behind them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she gets to hop on the train, and then that's what I'm thinking, like, oh crap, she definitely has something because she does not look okay.
Yeah. She's
And
clearly injured.
mhm, um, we have the train now starting to get motion to take off, and unfortunately for the ticket taker person who was standing outside, as soon as well, before, as it's getting taken off, we see like from the distance that something's kind of happening upstairs in the whatever train station area. And then as it's going off, and unfortunately for Sue-Ann, she witnesses him getting jumped by a zombie.
Yeah.
But it's before anybody knows what's going on, so she's just kind of like, dang, what was that?
And she
And
looks over to her dad for confirmation, but he's already got his eyes closed.
yeah, and nobody
And
notices.
yeah, so she's like, okay, I guess wasn't for me to know, and
Mhm.
moves on. And she hears a commotion happening in the bathroom because there's someone saying, hey, there's a man in the bathroom who I don't think should be on the train.
Yeah.
Um, but he is. So we need to like get him. He's been in there for a long time. We need to get him off of the train. Did you
Mhm.
hear that?
I did. It's a cat.
Yeah. Oh, they knocked the trash can over. Hold on.
Okay.
Matt, you get out of there. And kitty. Hold on. They knocked the whole trash can over.
Jesus. Some strong
And
cats.
we're trying to eat the bread that I threw away earlier.
Well, I don't blame them. Bread.
Yeah, it's really hard bread though. It's from Barris. And their bread gets
Baguette.
really hard the next day.
It's tough. I don't know
I
why.
didn't eat all of it.
It's tough even on the same day.
Yeah.
Like a few hours later. And so you're right. There's an odd old man in the restroom. So the attendant goes to check it out. And he's in there. He's a vagrant, and he's just like muttering, they're all dead. Everyone dead. And he definitely seems like he has something a little off about him. And
Yeah.
so, um, and at this point, we have Suan, as well as the COO. I just called him COO fuck ass
Yeah.
because that's
I
what he
called him
is.
COO the whole time.
He's a dick.
He was a jerk.
And he was like telling
Malin
her,
was
like,
watching the movie with me, and
oh,
she was like, "I hate him," and I was like, "Don't worry, don't worry."
yeah, he gets his comeuppance, but not even because like the way I was so over him, I didn't even care to like have this like have the arc. I was just by like him being such an asshole. I was just like, can this man die already? Can someone
Yeah,
kick him out? Like literally. But we have uh now all of that happening. We have the lady who had snuck on. She is walking down the hallway like having almost like a fit of seizure, a seizure fit, and is now on the floor. And one of the other attendees, a lady who works there, sees her and she's like, "OMG, we have not a customer, a passenger who needs medical assistance." And she's trying to, phone it in, but nobody's getting to them really that fast or responding at all. Um,
yeah.
and mhm. And then that's whenever we have,
The guy who is like a few train cars back too,
yeah,
so
oh, that's right, yeah,
he's like having to fight through everyone to get to her.
and then Gong Yu gets a phone call, right? Excuse me, Gong Yu gets a phone call, um, from Kim.
Yeah,
And it's talking about basically more business stuff. And then that's whenever we start to see on the news alert that stuff is going down in the city. There's not really a description of what's happening, but they're just like being like there's mass rioting happening. And then at
yeah,
this point
and then
we cut to the other
she,
lady. Hmm.
yep, and she comes to life or back to life, and yep, starts attacking the um, what would you call her?
Not a stewardess, but not a flight attendant,
Yeah,
but
train
um
attendant.
a trolley assist. No.
Would you like anything from the trolley, dears?
We'll take the whole lot. Um,
um, but yeah, the trolley lady,
oh
and
man,
she
yeah.
is all of a sudden, we see with this interaction that it did take a while for the first girl to get
I was thinking is because when
to
she was
turn.
came on the train, it looked like she just had a scratch. So maybe that's why, not necessarily a
Well,
bite.
I think it's also she was bit on her leg,
Mm,
and the attendant was bit on her neck, so it's closer
gotcha.
to the brain.
So it's just depending on where you get bit and how fast you turn.
Yeah, and how
That
fast
could make
the
sense.
blood can circulate to your brain, I
Hmm.
think is what it is, but I also could be pulling that theory out of my ass. So,
Well, it makes sense because if you have a normal infection, it's traveling. So yeah, that makes sense. Um,
yeah.
And so yeah,
Kind of like
like
in The
that
Walking Dead
lady
whenever they have to cut off Herschel's leg.
or people's limbs or
Yeah.
World War Z when they cut off her hand when she gets bitten.
Yeah, that's why I was like at the end, spoiler alert, when
Yeah.
Daddy Gong Yu gets bit, I was
I
like,
was like, there's a
"No, just cut off
way.
his hand.
But they didn't
Cut
have
it
anything to
off."
cut it off.
I know. Put it underneath
Yeah.
the train track and just let it jump off the train real fast, let it run
And
over
let
your
it
hand.
that'd have to be so painful. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it
You
wouldn't
might
even
as well just die at that point.
yeah, because it wouldn't even cut it off, I don't think. It would just like it would look all
Smush.
smushed and like still be connected. You need like
Ugh.
a machete chop. But we have yeah, the lady reanimated, she attacked her, and then she is now on top of that lady, walking in the middle of an aisle into the bus where all the baseball gals and guys are. And
Yep.
they're like, what the heck? And it doesn't take long for her to fall to the ground, and then that stewardess lady to reanimate and then start attacking all the guys in the baseball cab in the bus.
Yep.
Um,
And then she
mhm.
starts biting them in the neck and stuff too. So very quickly now we have multiple zombies.
They're spawning.
And they're all running forward now. They're running through the train cars, trying to get to other people, and everyone is remarkably calm.
Yeah, like,
At
especially on the
first, I think
buses
they're
that are
yeah,
back, because
they're
they
like
don't know what's going
in
on.
yeah, but
But enough
everyone's
people
just
running like that, like, enough, like, 2 or 3 people every, like, 30 seconds just being like, "Ah!" Like, I feel
I
like
would be running too.
probably something really bad happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't wait to find out.
Mhm.
A lot
Are
of
you
them were just
sure?
like, "Hmm, what's going on?" And I'd be like, "No, there's people running. We're running for a reason. If I find out later I didn't need to run, that's okay."
It was better safe to be sorry than
Yeah,
not to never have left at all. Yeah.
right. That's how the saying goes.
Yeah. And so pandemonium is striking because, like you said, all these people are losing their mind, and rightfully so, because
It's
these zombies are
literally a
pretty
wave
gnarly.
of zombies.
These
I
gnarly, they're
love how they animated them and that not animated, but this is a
the
real movie.
actors' movements.
Yeah, and but I
Mhm.
loved how they made them fall out, like, every time they, like, busted through something, it was like a wave of them.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah.
just like, "Ooh," they were all, like, stumbling over each other. It was so cool looking.
I don't know how they pulled that off. Like
Me neither.
CGI, I'm assuming, because you can't just have like people.
Bunch of actors.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Having
But
them get smushed to death.
it does look super cool. And we have, working our way to the front, the pregnant lady. And oh, I guess because we forgot to mention, right, that Suan, as she was going to the restroom earlier, met Thick Daddy, who
Yeah.
was guarding the restroom because his preggo wife was using the restroom. And at first I thought, oh, he's guarding like a zombie, but no, he was just guarding his preggo wife in there. And then that's whenever they are trying to make their way back to the front. All of the craziness is happening, and then what Daddy and Suyan make their way to Thick Daddy and Prego Lady, and that's whenever they're kind of like having to make their way around a zombie, and then she like yells at him to go help the other person getting attacked by a zombie. 'Cause she's like, "Go help her," but like poor guy doesn't know that this is a zombie, so then he's getting attacked. But thankfully he's super strong and he's able to like push
Yeah,
him
he's
off.
a badass.
Yeah, he really
He
is.
the whole time, it was I almost had tears come out my face
He
whenever
died.
he dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like
Um,
and then he was like, "Our daughter's name," and I was like, "No,
was that
that's
someone
so
else's name, by the
fucking
way, or
sad."
was that a
No,
name?
I think it was just he finally came up with a name,
Got it. Okay.
and he was like, "This is" I mean, it could have been, like, his mother's name or something, we don't
Oh,
know.
okay. No, you're good. I just couldn't remember, or I just didn't
Yeah.
hear. Like I didn't focus on it all the way. But they are fighting their way through these zombies. Regular Daddy and Suan take this moment to get around and get to the other side of the middle of the cart, the trench. They called it something,
The vestibule.
the vestibule. And thankfully, Thick Daddy. Well, no, actually, sorry, Prego, Lady, Regular Daddy, and Suan are able to get to their side, and they close the door, and they're about to. He's like not letting Thick Daddy in, but then he finally
Well,
lets
he
him
locked the
in
pregnant lady out too.
too. Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah,
Yeah, he
got
locked
it.
both of them out, and then he realized he could let them in just in time, but it was because he was being pressured by shitty COO dude
To close the
to
door.
lock
Yeah,
them out, yeah.
yeah.
But
But
they
thankfully, he
get in,
doesn't. They come in.
thankfully, just in time, yeah.
And S- Gong Gong
Y
Yu
yeah.
is realizing that they only attacked when they saw the humans. So they end up throwing water on the window and putting newspaper on there to cover the window so that way they can't be seen.
Shinmun,
And yeah, and it is
that's how you say
there you go,
newspaper in
newspaper.
Korea.
Shinmun. And it works. So there we go. Hypothesis tested and confirmed.
Yep, and they stop attacking the door, and so they've got themselves a few seconds to breathe. But
Oh,
then,
and we also this is when Gong also mentions that he doesn't. We realize that they don't know how to work doors.
yes,
Yes.
and then we get over the loudspeaker the captain saying that they are not going to make the next stop in Cheonan.
Mm-hmm.
Cheonan. I'm really not sure how to say it. But they're not making the next stop due to unforeseen
Zombie
circumstances.
apocalypse.
Yeah, shit is
Really odd
happening there.
parents.
Fairly Odd Parents, Wild
Yeah.
Shake, Chocolate Shake. Wait, no, Wild Goose,
Papa Juice.
Mongoose, Bama Juice,
Mongoose. Papa Juice. Milkshake. Papa Juice. Yeah.
Giant Fried Chocolate Shake.
I used to know that shit like I like the back of my
Odd
hand.
Parents,
It's been too
Fairly Odd
long.
Parents.
That show was so good. That one and Jimmy
It
Neutron.
was.
Those
Yeah.
were my shit. And then they had the crossover event. Ah, crossover events, man. Anyways, all right. So Thick Daddy is asking for an apology. He's like,
He's
bruh,
like,
you tried to
sir,
have
I
me
think you owe
killed.
me. Yeah. And he's like, Gongwoo's character, Yu's character is like, what?
Literally.
And then he's like, I think his name's Sokwu. Yeah. Um, but then he gets a call from his mom
Yes.
as she is changing. We can gather. And she's
sad.
basically saying all the stuff like, I love you, I love Suan,
Suan.
and
Take her to her mom. All she wants is her mom.
yeah, even though I loved her so much, she only wants her mom, kind of thing. And just saying all these things, and then you hear her just start going like
And then somehow as a zombie, she still knows how to hang up the phone. Because she's like,
yep.
Um,
And then they pass the next station, and you can just look out, and it's pandemonium, as you said earlier. Everyone's just eating each other.
yeah, we have
They're all on the floor, and they're just rah, 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 rah.
that sucks. Like having to witness that as well. Because it's
Yeah.
like, what can you do? You can't do anything. And it's
And
like
he hides Suan's face. He's like,
from witnessing
don't
it,
look
but
at that.
she's totally doing that thing that any kid would and like still like turning her head to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty crazy. I never would I ever wish on any of my worst enemies to go and live in a world where a zombie apocalypse happens and it's fast zombies. Slow
Yeah.
zombies, that's
Like
okay.
Walking Dead zombies,
We'll be all right.
A-okay. Train to Busan zombies, no.
Fuck no. I'm not even gonna fight it, honestly. If it's
Yeah,
those
I would
type of
just be
zombies,
like, take me out.
but honestly, because I'm the will is not strong enough.
Yeah, no,
The-
same.
as for that, you know what I mean? Because even at that, like that's not even rationally thinking like Walking Dead zombies. Like, what kind of life is that? Right? That's a sucky ass life. But like having to constantly run from Train to Busan zombies, that's just not even living. That's just yeah.
Yeah, because the
So
way that they move, the way that they had them move in this film is terrifying.
you just
Their body, it was
never
like
feel
they were
safe.
glitching, and
Mhm.
they were just like tick, 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 tick. And then like the
Yeah.
way that their bones were like non-existent.
Oh
Like
yeah.
the
Like
baseball player, whenever those two get taken out at the bottom of the train station,
oh yeah.
after they get off the train,
I think a
and then
really
find that
good showcasing of that too is the deer from the beginning. Like remember how it just
yeah,
hit and
because
then it
the
just
way
like
it was like yeah,
flops over. It's crazy.
yeah,
So maybe the
it's
zombie
terrifying.
actually isn't that evolution? Aren't the zombies just like evolved?
I guess so.
Hmm.
Survival of the fittest, though.
Exactly. We end up then getting a news clip and kind of voiceover describing what's going on in the country. And this is where we get more of the what we were talking about earlier, how they were talking about trust your government. This everything's gonna be okay. Like stay inside, basically.
Severely underselling the situation.
Yeah. And we get another message from the train conductor, and he's saying that the train will be stopping in Daejeon because there will be military to be able to help them to get them to another safe place, apparently.
Yeah.
And we have uh Suan talking to the pregnant lady and Thick Daddy talking about her dad and what he does and his job description. And Thick Daddy is like, oh, well, he's a bloodsucker or something like that because he's a fund manager, which I don't know what that
Yeah, like
means.
a hedge fund manager kind of thing.
And they share candies, some little gummy worms. And so it's just kind of building the rapport between the little girl and this couple because they will be spending a lot of time together. And dad makes another phone call and he calls Kim.
This time
And
I think he calls a military friend.
oh, is it not the Kim guy, the same guy? Okay, my bad.
No, I think this one's a different guy.
Oh, okay.
And he's saying that they were going to stop at Daejeon
Dejan.
Station.
Mhm.
And he's basically telling him that, like, look, you'll be quarantined if you stop there. And he was like, okay, but is there anything you can do? And he's like, yeah, go to the east square instead of the main one, and I'll have my guys uh, basically section you off and let you not have to be quarantined, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
But
All about who you know.
yeah, and which, yeah, it's like that's so unsafe if there is like an actual quarantining needing situation going on.
Yeah.
Like, that's so unsafe. But anyways, they start arriving at the train station, right?
Yes, they do.
And
Um, this is whenever they get there, but it looks like no one is here. Like it looks so deserted. And they get off. The COO goes and goes to the front and gets with the conductor and is like, "Hey, I want to go to Busan, so let's go." But then the train conductor is like, "Well, all those other people are getting into into the station. Let's go get them and get who we can." So the CEO is like pissed off because he just wants to leave. And the rest of mainly everybody is going through the station because they think that there's going to be help there. But
yeah,
like you said, what's his face? Um, Gong Yu gets Suan and they break away from the crowd and they start to try to go their separate way through a different corridor. And the vagrant guy, I don't know his name, but he ends up trying to follow him because he's like, nah, I'm going with you. Um, and we have them going down the hallway while we have the bigger crowd of people going down those escalators. But Thick
yeah,
Daddy can notice that something's kind of off. Something's not right.
yep. And
Mhm.
he sees like
The
the
police.
horde of military down at the bottom
Mhm.
and notices the way that they're moving and is like, oh shit. And then, but at that point, it's too late. And they notice that there's people coming down. So they turn around and they start charging.
Basically an ambush.
Yeah. And of course, they're going down the escalator. So trying to move up a going down escalator is incredibly hard. So people are jumping over, and Thick Daddy, moves his pregnant wife over the edge onto the stairs so that way they can run. And oh, it was so scary
Yeah.
because so many people died in this moment. There
Oh
was like a
yeah.
good amount of
It's
people left, and then they all just fucking died.
well, because and especially sucks for the people who were like at the front of the escalators. They really had no chance. And then whenever
Yeah.
they got back up, and then it's just kind of like I don't know, like a like a frenzy.
Yeah, it was coming from all directions. And
Hmm.
um because then they notice Gong Yu and Suan are heading down the corridor with the Yeah, I never got his man. I just called him Unhoused Man.
Houseman.
Um, yeah. Um,
You wait, Jim. Just kidding.
and he's moving towards this military official who, once he gets close enough, realizes that he's like in
Injured.
severe need of medical attention. Yeah. And then a zombie comes around the corner and attacks him. And then they're like, oh shit. So now they're coming down that corridor as well. And oh, this part was so scary when Suan was standing there because Gong Yu told Suan to stay at the end of the corridor.
Yep.
And right, thank God Thick Daddy comes in and fucking knocks that zombie out. But a zombie almost got Suan. And it was like, oh shit. But Thick Daddy punches him in the face
And
and
then just
knocks
starts
that
taking him
zombie
out.
out.
Hmm.
Yep. And then he gets Suan and they run. And then they get behind the door and they start, all the baseball guys are there and they're putting their baseball bats in the doors to try and,
Yeah.
stop them from getting the doors open. But of
Glass
course
doors
they're
at that.
glass doors. Yeah. And then
Gong
Daddy,
Yu is fighting for his life.
yeah, he's gotten attacked by a zombie who's like, nah, 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 all in his face. So he shoves a book in its mouth.
Hmm.
And then the unhoused man comes by. He drops his jacket on, or a duffel bag or something on the zombie's head and lets him get up.
Yeah, it's like
And
a
Big
jacket.
Daddy's like, get up, run, you asshole. And
Yeah.
he finally gets up. And my notes just say, run, run, run.
Hmm. Yeah,
That
because
was all like a
a
note in that moment. I was
he's
just like, get up.
oh yeah, for sure, because it's so crazy. He's able to get up. He's able to get to the other sides of the glass doors. They let him in.
Just in the
Um,
nick of time.
and there are people
Almost
running.
too late because
No,
they
yeah,
can't get the door locked.
and the people are running to to the trains because they're trying to leave. And at this point, we have the COO once again being like to the conductor, like, we've got to go, like, let's go. And he's like, no, wait, like, these people are running, they're almost here. And then glass breaks from up top, and all these zombies just start pouring over on top of the train. So
Yeah,
then
which was
even
wild.
more pandemonium breaks out. It's like
Knocks the little
mayhem.
harmonies over. That's
Uh-huh.
grandma in Korean.
Oh, okay. I was like, what's that? But okay. Yes, the two granny sisters, they get separated. And then that's whenever the train conductor is like, okay, shit, like, we gotta go. So the train starts to kind of get going and moving. And then we have upstairs where the other guys are, and they notice that the train is leaving, so they're like, we gotta go. The glass breaks up there with them, so now they're getting chased by all these zombies.
And we get
Um,
another wave effect through that
yeah,
door as the
which is
glass
really
breaks. And they're
cool.
just like,
Yeah. And it's just like, they're running, they're trying to get to the train. Everybody gets kind of separated a little bit. So there are some people that are already on the bus and the train. And then we have the pregnant lady with Granny, sister, and Suan being able to get on the train, and then separately we have, because they were all the way back, the baseball guy, main guy, baseball guy, and Thick Daddy and regular Daddy, and they're fighting zombies to get to the train, but unfortunately, two of those baseball guys get attacked, and it really sucks for
yeah.
them.
And
Um,
this is that moment where I was talking about where
mhm.
that when he stands up, his leg like comes over his body and then he's just like blah, 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 blah.
Blah blah blah. Yeah, good old
Is wild.
contortionist.
Yeah.
And they're able to get on the train. Not like super easy, but Big Daddy has to like really rough it out for a minute there, but they do get
I
on.
love this scene. Whenever he starts running away from the train, you're like, oh shit, what is he gonna do? And then he picks up that police like shield
Yeah,
and then just like runs into those zombies head first and is like, get the fuck out of my way. It was
yeah.
so cool. It was so badass. I was like, hell yeah.
He is definitely carrying the team. He is the superhero, especially because it's really cool when you don't see what he sees, obviously, right? So he just goes off, and then it's like, oh yeah, obviously he saw those zombies coming, and he had to think like that, like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? You know?
Yeah.
Um, and so we have they're all on there, right? And then that's whenever we have them the pregnant lady and the homeless man, the sister, Granny's sister and Suwan, they're hiding in the restroom.
Yeah. And they're
Hmm.
going to close the door but one spots them.
And so they
And
can't get it closed.
yeah, they can't get it closed all the way. And so then we get a panicked phone call from the pregnant lady to Thick Daddy. And she's like, well,
It's from
it's from
Suwan.
Suwon. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Suwon's like, help, we're in the bathroom. And then pregnant lady finally yells out, car 13. And
Yeah. And she's like, get here now or something like that. Hmm.
yeah. And then they hang up.
Yeah.
And so they're like, Thick Daddy looks up, realizes they're in car 9,
Yeah.
and is like, okay, well, we got to get to car 13 if we want to see our wife and our daughter again.
Yeah.
So time to strap up.
And which
And
they do.
so
They start wrapping up
they,
their arms and
yeah,
getting prepped to
thank God that duffel bag of like shit was there.
that's true. Yeah. I mean,
Very convenient.
very smart thinking on their part. Also, I mean, when you have limited resources, um, what can you do?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really cool. We have them basically coming up with this plan of how they need to get to that car and then get from there to car 15 because baseball dude has talked on the phone with his girlfriend and baseball girlfriend told him like, hey, we're all up here in car 15. So that's their plan, move to car 13, save the gang, and then get to car 15, and ride
Yeah,
it out
where
to
everyone else
Busan.
is hiding. Yep.
Yeah.
And they go through the first car and they're beating the shit out of them zombies. They're
Yeah,
just like,
they're
wham,
really doing
bam,
it.
thank you, ma'am. They're doing
Hmm.
a good job. And they make it through the first car. But
And then we
then the
get to the
next
baseball
car
baddies.
is all the baseball guys. So
Hmm.
they tell baseball boy to get behind them since he's going to obviously have some trouble hitting his friends who are now zombies
His
in the
homeboys.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
His
so,
brothers.
yeah, so sad.
Yeah.
But they start knocking the baseball guys out too. And then they realize that they get confused when the lights are out because they go into a tunnel. And then all of a sudden, the baseball guys are like,
They can't see them. Yeah, just like that.
exactly.
Um, and they are able to sneak by them, get to the next vestibule. And they are like, oh yeah, so they can't see us whenever it's dark. So maybe if we like plan this right, we can do something with the tunnels. But they also get an idea to use the cell phones, and Gongyu ends up calling I don't remember, it doesn't matter, but whose phone ends up using Thick Daddy's phone to call his phone or his phone to call his phone.
He uses
Um,
his phone to call Thick Daddy's phone because later
okay,
on he
got it.
goes, why do you have such an obnoxious ringtone?
Oh, that's right.
Ringtone.
Got it. Got it. And he calls him and is able to distract the zombies enough for them to be able to get through and make it to another car, another bus. And they finally are able to make it to the bathroom where his wife is
Yep.
and the
And
daughter
then so
is. Yeah.
now they're in the bathroom across from the mom, pregnant lady, and Suan. And Gong Yu looks it up and he is saying basically that the next tunnel gives them 6 minutes of darkness.
Hmm.
So that's when they need to make a majority of their movements with this large group that they're now in.
Yeah.
Um, and so but then we flash back to the COO now because Jinhee said, like,
My friends are
my
coming.
friends are coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, absolutely the fuck not. Your friends are not
Hmm.
coming. Um, they're, what if they're infected? And he's like, no.
Yeah,
comfy.
he's such a fucking asshole. Yeah, my like back was hurting from the way I was sitting. Um, they are basically telling her like your fans can't come in here. Like, what if they're infected? Like, you have no idea. Meanwhile, I'm over here thinking Granny, who looks sad over there. I thought she might have been infected for a whole second because I thought I
Oh,
swear I saw something on her for a moment. But we end up having
making
the
everyone scared.
yeah, we end up getting through the tunnels or at the beginning of the tunnel, so it's dark. And so they have decided that they are going to use the overhead luggage thing storage to
Bins, yeah.
bins to climb over and evade the zombies. Um, and they do. They're all crawling over. They're
Could you
almost
imagine
making.
how hard that had to been for a pregnant lady? Crawling,
Oh
I
yeah.
imagine I think she was on her
I was
side and, like,
I
kinda
was
pulling
thinking of the
herself.
granny. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this must be hard for the granny.
Yeah, to get up that high too.
And then just yeah, have to like crouch and move like that. And they most of them do end up making it, except for we have regular daddy and the unhoused man, and the unhoused man ends up like falling and making a
Yeah.
noise and ruining it. But false alarm because him and regular daddy are hiding and the zombies don't see them. But when they make a plan to make a run for it, freaking unhoused man steps on like a orange soda can, and it makes a little crackle noise, and it just all pandemonium again. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, "On the count of 3," and then so he was like, "Hana, Tul," and then he was like, about to say "Set," and then he was like, and then he's like,
Yeah.
"Run!"
So stupid. And so then they end up running, end up getting to the other side of the vestibule, trying to anyways, but oh no, they do. But all the zombies are now have chased after them and are kind of it's making it impossible for the door to close. So Thick Daddy is trying to close it, but he can't get it closed, and they can't get the other door open because the fucking assholes in the beginning and in the cart 15 have tied their clothes together to
Yeah,
make
their
it
neckties and
mhm,
stuff all together to keep that door
secure.
locked. Yeah, and he baseball boy ends up calling Jinhee, and he's like,
Let us
you
through.
know, but yeah, trying to say let us through, but they've got Jinhee like back uh, pulled back and like hand over her mouth, and then COO dude steps on her phone and like breaks it. And
Yeah.
it's like, dude, what the fuck? Like calm your tits.
Daddy chill.
Yeah.
Daddy chill. But we have this is one of the sadder moments because they're trying to break through and get through, but they can't. And Thick Daddy is like trying to hold everybody off. He ends up getting bitten by one of the zombies on his hand,
Yeah.
which sucks.
The little zombie
And
that Gong Yu smashed its head down to the floor earlier is
yeah,
like, ooh, a hand, and like up
much.
the side of the pole and just munches on him. Yeah.
Yeah. And so unfortunately for
I just
her,
wrote
that's that.
no.
And he knows what's up. So he ends up, and wife knows what's up. So this is when we have that whole moment of like him yelling at her, like, go. And she's going. And then he's like, the baby's name is this. And he says it.
You
And then it's
son.
okay. And it's a whole moment. And
Yeah.
he is able to fend off these zombies for a good while, even though he's turning. And I think he's even like using some of that zombie like rage and like using it to like fuel him his like strength to like hold them
Yeah.
all
Because
back.
he was like holding a whole horde off at this point.
Yeah.
And he turns to Gong Yu before he turns and is like, protect her, keep her safe, kind of thing. And Gong Yu thankfully is able to hold his end of the bargain
Yeah.
up, at least as far as he's able to. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, he yells, Yunsun is our baby's name, and he fights him off. And then they're finally at the same time, they're finally able to. Baseball dude took his bat and just started beating the shit out of the door and was
Mhm.
like, let us through. So he got them in, but just barely in the nick of time are they able to make it through the vestibule before
The
the
zombies try to
zombies
get
have now
them.
made it past Thick Daddy.
Yeah.
And then little Harmony is standing there and she just looks at her sister and like shakes her head. And she's like, yeah, no,
She
I'm not
she gave up.
doing this. Yeah.
She was
And
like, "I'm out."
so, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what she did. And little Harmony gets taken down. And
Now we're with the rest of the gang and everybody up front, and these bitches are like, "Nah, y'all can't stay with us."
yeah, he can't sit with
Uh-huh.
us.
Yeah, because especially whenever Gong Yu goes to like slap that motherfucker COO and he's like, "Why would you like block us out? Why would you not let us in?" And then the CEO is like using mass hysteria to his advantage and being like, "This guy's infected. He's infected. Can't you see? Look at his eyes." And so
Yeah, and I was like,
yeah,
his eyes look normal.
literally. And so yeah, the rest of the gang that's in there, they obviously rally and join in the mass hysteria and start to like yell at them to like get off. So they elect to go ahead and get into the vestibule and wait it out on the other side. And while this is all going on and the bitches are arguing in cabin 15, Granny, what'd you call her?
Harmony.
Hominy, Hal, Hal,
Harmony.
Halmony,
Yeah.
Halmony,
Harmony.
Halmony is looking at her other Halmony, and she is like, "You dumb fucking cunt. Why would you
Yeah, she was
fucking
mad
leave
at
me
her
alone?
sister.
You bitch. Fuck you. You always got to do nice things for other people." And so then she looks back and she's like, "Fuck this bullshit." And so she gets up and she does one of the coolest badass things I've ever seen someone do. And she's just like, "You know what? Look at all these motherfuckers arguing." And she goes and starts talking to her sister and is just like, "I love you and I miss you. And here we go. We're going to have a hug. I'm going to open the door and lets all these zombies in."
She
And
lets them all in.
they start to go off on everybody in there. And yeah, the gang who's in the front in the vestibule are just kind of like, whoop, just hearing everybody get devoured. And it
Yep,
sounds
and they're
like a
like,
bloodbath.
not our problem.
Yeah. And at this point now we have a little bit of downtime, I guess, before we're getting to Busan. And uh, Guang Yu is talking to Suan about her recital and about life, essentially. And this is where, excuse me, Suan gets to tell him like why she didn't finish her recital.
Yeah, she was saying she couldn't finish the song because she practiced it just for him and he wasn't there,
Hmm.
which was so sad. And
Yeah.
he's reassuring her, saying, like, don't worry, I'll take you to mom no matter what. And she was like, yeah, love mom, but right now, like, I'm with you. And,
Yeah.
I care about you too, kind of thing. So don't leave me.
Yeah.
And then
Um,
he goes into this cracked me up whenever he goes into the
the
little
restroom.
bathroom to have his mental breakdown, emotional moment. And he has his ex-wife saved his ex-wife in his phone.
Uh,
And I
well, I
was
mean,
like, you can't just save it as her name though. Like it
I
was
wanted it to
funny.
be very clear of who it was.
Yeah, ex-wife. And but then the whole time he's tried calling her multiple times and he's not been able to get through to her. And then all of a sudden after he hangs up, he gets a phone call back and he's like, "Oh shit, is it her?" But it's just Mr. Kim.
Hmm. And Mr. Kim
And
is like crying and he's like, "Oh my gosh, this came out of biotech. Is this our fault? Please don't tell me this is my fault."
yeah, because we
Uh-huh.
basically funded them and now he's like, "Is this our fault?" Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Gong
Gong
Su
Yu
is like
doesn't
Gong
say
Yu. Yeah.
anything. He's just kind of like, oh shit. And then he's wiping the blood off his hands, crying, having his emotional moment when, the train starts stopping due
Yeah.
to a bunch of shit on the tracks, like storage. What are those things called? Storage containers
Yeah. Containers.
were like on the tracks and stuff. And so they didn't get to make it to Busan. They're stopped
No.
at East Daegu station.
And they have to get out because the train conductors reporting over the intercom like, hey, you guys, this track is no longer sustainable, so we got to switch over to a different car. If y'all can make it over to this such and such, then please do so, and whoever makes it makes it. Basically that. Yeah. He's like,
Yeah.
good luck, Godspeed.
Godspeed.
And they are then going to try to get off, but that's when we get to see that freaking COO is still freaking alive in a bathroom hiding out with a worker from the train. And
Yeah.
the conductor ends up leaving and he plops off and then is able to kind of dozy his way over to where he's getting to. And then the rest of the gang who is in the vestibule start to hop off. Yeah.
Yep. And
Mhm.
they're all getting off the train. And the captain, he goes over to the next train, realizes it's full of zombies, and he is
Mhm.
able to eventually find an empty engine car, like an
Yeah.
engine for the train, and where he can drive it. And so he gets in that and he's taken off.
Yeah.
And then we flash back to COO guy. We see, like he survived in the bathroom. And he tells the other guy in the bathroom, like, oh,
The
yeah,
coast is
coast
clear.
is all clear. And so he's like, you go ahead, which I would not trust anyone in that situation. I'd be like, no, you go first,
For
bitch.
real.
But he just goes on ahead, and COO pushes him out, makes him slam into the wall, triggering the zombie to look back at him. And the zombie just goes, nom, nom, nom.
Yeah,
So he used
uses
him
him
as
as a decoy.
to get out.
Oh
And
man.
it was really sad. But then
The
we're back with the other guys running off, and
Mhm.
or I think actually we're with the captain, and this is where we see the flaming train car on the way.
Yeah, and he's like, "What the?" And then, yep, unfortunately, freaking train car crashes into another train, and it just is like these people cannot catch a break,
Yeah.
and it's just like they're now having to dodge fucking container and train from a crash, and the baseball couple are kind of like stuck in the middle of these two trains, like perpendicular to each other, and they're like, "What now?" They're freaking out, and then
Yeah,
we
they're
have
separated from everyone
uh-huh.
else in the group.
Yeah, we have the conductor who has now found that train, right? But now he is trying to help the COO who is trying to get on the train. But now the COO gets the conductor killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um
Not before uh he sacrifices the baseball kids too.
oh, that's true. My bad. He does
Yeah,
that as
because
well.
the baseball
That's
couple
right. My
gets
bad.
onto the train, and fucking the COO, like they're trying to break down the window, and the COO gets off the train next to them
Yeah.
and hops onto their train, and he takes baseball girl Jinhee and he just throws her,
And she gets
and
attacked.
she gets attacked. And then baseball boy is sitting there like, no, don't
With
die, kind of
yeah.
thing. And then she's like,
And bites
and
him
she
very
bites him in the
fast.
neck. Yep.
Yeah.
And then they just die together. Um,
And then you're right. That's when he hops off, and then that's when he gets the fucking conductor killed.
yeah.
And then it
The captain
gets
gets, I can't believe the conductor got off the train. I was like, A, someone needs to be driving that thing.
yeah.
B, what the fuck? Like, every man for himself. Fuck that guy. He's been nothing but an asshole the whole time. Like, fucking let him die.
hmm But he doesn't, and it gets him killed. And then we are back with
And you can kind of
Suan.
tell that he gets bit in this moment.
Oh yeah, he does most definitely.
Yeah. Because he like
COO.
has a cry of pain. And Yeah, but he gets up onto the train, and then we see that, thankfully, remarkably, and miraculously, that everyone survived um, the flaming train car. But the now pregnant lady, Suan, Gong Yu, and unhoused man are all pinned beneath this train car with that's just full of zombies on top of
Hmm.
them, which is absolutely terrifying.
Not
Um,
ideal.
because yeah, glass is only so strong. And
Yeah.
thankfully Daddy's able to get out from under the train. And
Hmm.
but as soon as he does that, something falls and it blocks the pathway.
For him,
So the
for
unhoused
everyone else to get
man,
out. Yeah.
yeah, is having to, because then the glass breaks at the same time. So the unhoused man is like holding them off as Gong Yu Daddy is trying to move whatever just fell. And thankfully he's able to move it just in time for Suan and pregnant lady to wiggle their way underneath the train. And
Hmm.
because right as pregnant lady's getting out, we see that all of the glass breaks and it's
Yeah.
just a horde of zombies
Waves of
coming through.
zombies.
Yeah. And I was so afraid that one was going to grab her little ankle there as
Pull
she
it
was
back
like,
in.
yeah, I was like, no, no, don't let her die. Ugh, it's so scary.
And so they are able to thankfully get out. We have the unhoused man that gave his life in a sacrifice, and then they get to the train as they see that it is moving. But when they get on there, um, Daddy is able to get to the front of where the go.
This scene was wild to me because
Mhm.
you really get to see just how fast they fucking move
Oh yeah,
as they're running after them in the train, and then just
yeah,
like how strong they are too,
holding
because
on.
that one, yeah, holding on and then holding that fucking like 50 of them
Yeah,
behind him was just insane. And
so
it
horde
was, yeah, I just was like, they're so fast. Oh my God, this is
is strong.
terrifying.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so he gets to the front, and the fucking COO is in there, and he's able to yeah, I guess he's still not all the way turned, so he's able to freaking open the door handle and get out, and he's talking to them, and he's like, "I'm scared, like, what's happening to me?" And the dude is like, "Well, you're infected, like, you're turning." And
And
he
he's like, no,
yeah,
Ani,
yeah,
Ani.
and he ends up turning into a zombie, and then we have
And
the
in
most
that moment, I was like, before the moment I noticed that motherfucker was turning, I would have thrown him off.
oh,
I would
yeah,
have been
yeah.
like, you're getting the fuck off of here.
Already, but no, we allowed him to go full boss mode, and this is
Stop.
the final fight.
Stop it.
Oh, this is the final fight of the movie. And yeah, they get into it pretty gnarly here. Dad is trying to fight a COO off. COO is putting up a
She's
pretty
eating my shoes.
oh no. They must taste really good. And
They're all ones that I have packed because I was packing for New York today
oh, okay.
and she's
Yeah,
eating them.
that's what's there. That sums it
There,
up.
stop.
That's about right. They know you're gonna leave them, so they have to get back at you.
I guess so, by destroying all my fucking expensive shoes. I
Yeah.
shouldn't have left them out.
And so we have this fight between them, and then unfortunately, Dad gets bit on the hand.
Yep, he bites his little hand. And unfortunately, Dad comes up with the smart idea to throw them both off the train a little too late because,
Yeah.
yeah, I bit him on the hand. And so it was really sad. I was like, fucking hell, come on.
Yeah.
Um,
COO is defeated because he gets thrown off, but
yeah, thank God,
Dad is able
finally.
to get his way back up, and then we have this really gut wrenching moment between him and Zuan, basically as he runs into the front of the cab where all the train engine stuff is, and is telling them like giving them basically the last instructions of like, okay, you need to do this and do this when you get here, and I love you. I'm dying.
Yeah. I'm dying. He tells her to stay with the pregnant lady no matter what. And she's
Yeah.
saying, Kajima, Kajima, which means don't go.
Mhm.
And then this part almost made me cry. I was like,
Yeah.
God damn it, this is so sad. And then
When he starts having the
he
flashbacks?
yeah, he goes off to the back of the train and he starts remembering holding his baby for the first time as he's turning. And I liked in this general scene, I liked how it was such pretty, like peaceful music that was happening with the flashbacks, but I liked how it maintained that music over the horrific scenes of like Suan screaming,
Mhm.
for her father.
Yeah.
And it was just such peaceful music, though, as you're seeing her like fight for her life and yelling for her dad. And I just thought it was really pretty. And then I thought it was also tasteful how they didn't show him jumping off the train, but it was just the shadow of him.
Mhm.
I thought that was really nice.
Yeah. It wasn't because it's really sad for him to be dying anyways, so it's kinda like you don't wanna watch that anyways.
Yeah, exactly. And
Oh, yeah.
they are going down the little track still. We see them approaching this like blockade with a bunch of dead people, and we see like the river littered with dead people as well.
Mhm.
And they get off the train because obviously they can't go anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and they start walking past all the dead bodies. One of them twitches, which that was funny. It scared Malin. It got her.
The
She was
hand
like, "Oh
going up?
shit!" Yeah, the hand that was like,
Yeah.
um, and then we
They make their way through
flash
a
to
tunnel.
yeah, they're going through a little tunnel, actually a rather large tunnel.
Yeah.
Um,
But on the other side, we see that there's military set up and they have a scope on them.
and they're alive. They're real
Yeah.
military, not zombie.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you're thinking like, oh crap, after all this, they're gonna get accidentally shot because the way they're walking too, they look a little zombie-ish because they're like tired
Yeah,
and like all
and
that
she's pregnant,
jazz
so she's like,
waddling.
yeah,
And thankfully, and it's kind of like a full circle moment. Suwon starts to sing and finish her recital song that she was supposed to sing
yep.
for her dad. And
And
they
that
hear
was so
her.
sad too because the lyrics are like, "I'll see you again" and stuff, and
Hmm.
it's like, "Oh no, you never will see them again."
Yeah, no,
It
not
was
until
really
you go to
sad.
hell. Hmm.
Yeah.
And
No,
th-
Suan.
they end up getting rescued by the military because they're like, "Oh shit, these are actually real life people. Let's go." And yeah, it's thankfully they get rescued, and the movie ends with just cutting away on Suwon's face, which is I
Yep.
feel like really fitting.
They made it, and then it just cuts to black, and it says "Gong Yu,"
Yep,
and we just start
and
getting our title sequence, or
and
not title sequence, credits.
and that is the Train to Busan, 2016.
2016.
Um,
What'd you think?
I will give it. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really good. I thought the zombies were terrifying. I thought that it kinda almost seemed like it wasn't like the movie felt like it to me had like 2 halves to it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It was kinda pretty I mean, it was almost 2 hours, an hour and 57. So, I mean, and it felt like that. But, it still was able to keep me entertained enough to where my little attention span could handle it. Um, there the acting was really good, and for it being like a horror zombie movie, like, there's a lot of emotion put into it, and the characters were pretty fleshed out well enough that you cared about them, and you cared about when they died, and you really wish that, like, Thick Daddy and even like, Granny didn't even have to die. Like, Granny totally could have made it, but,
Yeah.
oh, is that Andrew?
Yeah. That's why I moved
Hi.
out of the way, was so
He's
you
so
could
cute.
see him.
Hi.
Josh is waving at you.
Aw, look at that. That's the best wave in the South. All right. And so then we have yeah, all of that going on and bunch of blood and guts, and these zombies were pretty hella cool. I would
Mm,
honestly I don't have any qualms. I honestly would just give it 5 stars. 5 boos.
five booths. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at 5.
Yeah.
5
That's
boos.
where I'm right there with you. 5 booths for this film. It was phenomenal. I think the acting the whole time was so believable. Even the zombie actors were like fucking insane. They
Yeah,
were
they did
did
really
such a good
good.
job. And the storyline, to me, it did not feel like a 2-hour long film. It was so easy to get through
Mhm.
because it's such a fast paced movie. There's like zero downtime, really, other than
Yeah.
like his emotional breakdown and the 30 seconds long.
Yeah.
So it's really, really easy to get through, I think. And I thought, I mean, like you said, you get really attached to all the characters. Like, I didn't want Thick Daddy to die. And
Mhm.
it was all just really believable. And it's it's my personal favorite zombie movie that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's I
Because
think the
zombies don't
believable
necessarily
part.
scare me, but these fucking zombies do.
Well, and especially when you're in such a confined space like a train, where all
Yeah,
you can
you're
do
like
is
sitting
move
ducks.
forward or backwards, and it's also very claustrophobic.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's a really cool concept. Like whoever thought of it, like you know, like fucking snakes on a plane, like
Yeah,
zombies on a train.
zombies on a train.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Next I want to
Well,
see
do you want
zombies in an
some
Uber.
zombie in an Uber?
Oh,
Zombie Uber driver.
Zuber.
I've
Yeah.
never been to
Well,
Uber driver.
hit me with the fun fact.
Actor Ma Dong Suk, the man with the pregnant wife, used to be Gong Yu's personal trainer.
I believe it.
Yeah, he was fit AF.
Well, he plays.
Um,
I think he ended up being in Eternals as well. He played Gilgamesh, which is like the strong one.
oh, I've not seen Eternals.
Hmm.
Interesting. Train to Busan is the sixth highest grossing domestic film of all time in South Korea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Filmmaker Edgar Wright, who directed the BAFTA nominated zombie comedy Shaun of the Dead, was a big fan of the film. Wright recommended the film in a tweet and called it the best zombie movie I've ever seen in forever.
That's
Which,
awesome.
to get, yeah, that from Shaun of the Dead director, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's exciting. And then Train to Busan is director Yeon Sang Ho's first live action film. Yeon's previous works were all animated features.
Hmm.
And then the word zombie is only mentioned once in this film.
Where? Hmm.
I,
I'm
d-
curious where. I don't know
I
where.
don't know, yeah. But
Oh,
that's what they only ever refer to them as zombies as once. It must have been maybe like the news film or something. And
yeah.
then I believe we actually get a director
Cameo.
cameo at one point. He plays one of the like people in
Faithful.
it, but
Oh.
I don't remember who he plays. But I read that somewhere
He's in there. Well, that's
he's
cool.
yeah, that he's in
Pulling an
it.
M Night Shyamalan.
Control room number 1. Yeon Sang Ho is control room number 1 person. So he's in there somewhere, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is 2016's Train to Busan. It has a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes still.
I believe it. A lot of people like it.
So
I
it's
haven't seen a lot of
really,
people say bad things about it.
yeah,
I
I've
haven't seen
never
any
heard
bad things.
anyone be like, I hate
The
that
movie
movie.
sucks.
Like, yeah, no, everyone ever has always just been like, oh, that's a good movie.
Yeah. Well, you guys, that is Train to Busan. You heard it here. We're coming
5
from
stars.
you from our own studios, but through Road
Our
Media
own
Network.
homes.
Yeah, and they do take good care of us, and you can listen to our podcast and a lot of other cool podcasts through their website at roguemedianetwork.com.
That's right. And then you can listen to us and all the other podcasts on a slew of podcasting platforms. The biggest two would be
Apple.
and also Spotify. But wherever you do listen, don't forget to
Rate, review, like, and subscribe.
That's right, because that is the only way we can get ahead in this world. And tell your friends, tell your moms, tell your daughters, tell your thick daddies, tell everyone to go watch this film and to listen to us. And then if you have any zombie recommendation movies that you would like to give to us, or if you have any thoughts on what are we doing next? Dawn of the Dead? Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead. Yeah.
Night of the
Robert
Living Dead.
Romero. Yeah.
Yeah. George. No.
George Romero. George Romero.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was getting names wrong. Confused. I was thinking of Robert Rodriguez for some reason. But anyways, yes. Well, it depends on you because I know you said you wanted your friend on it. So it's either that, but if you can't be on the next episode, then we'll just do 28 days later. So
okay. Cool. We'll do some
so
zombie film next.
Yes.
And yeah, if you have any thoughts on those films, or zombie recommendation films for us, or thoughts on Train to Busan, then please reach out to us on our one social media platform, which is Instagram, and that is at
Boobaes Podcast, and that's at BOOBAES because we're your boobaes, not your boobabes.
That's right.
Yep.
And until next time, you guys.
Bye, bays.
Bye, bays.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Boobaes.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.